All right, good afternoon, traders. Today is November 24th, 2025. My name is John Carignan. I'm the lead instructor here at the BYOB Trading Room. Thank you for being here. Hey, let's take a look at the markets today. Let's see how I made 6,600 with an 89K account. I only use 10% of my account, okay, every day. I use up to 10%. So I had 80, I actually had 89. I had 89 available to use because it was an 89K account. So it says 83. I used up to 89. I don't even think I used 83 anyways. All right, so let's take a look at the markets, okay? And let's take a look at pre-market, post-market. I'm going to move this out of the way. And we're going to go to the pre-market, post-market chart right here. Okay, and we're going to go to the 10-minute chart. Okay, so in the 10-minute chart coming into today, we have 10-minute bullish consolidation, okay? So how do I know it's a 10-minute bullish consolidation? Because we went from a lower point to a higher point, and we held the higher ground, okay? So we went up, and then we went over to the right. So get the arrow out here, and you can see price went up, and then over to the right. So that's 10-minute bullish consolidation. That's a bull flag right there. Okay, so it's no uptrend, no downtrend. It's just 10-minute bullish consolidation. Okay, so let's take a look at Friday's price action. Okay, so on Friday's price action, we failed to make a significant lower low, and price ran off to make a higher high. Okay, so see this high right here? All right, we made an equal high right there, then made a higher low. Okay, so made an equal high. See right there? Here's a high. They made equal high right there. Made a higher low, and then produced a higher high. All right, then failed to produce a lower low, so they made a higher low, and then the bulls got inspired to rip price up and make another higher high. Okay, so now if we look at the consolidation that we had, okay, with, put it on yellow. Okay, so all of this right here, this would be 21 and 20 consolidation. Okay, then we made the higher lows. Okay, so right there. Now we got in the post market, okay, on Friday evening, we made consolidation right through here. Okay, and then in the pre-market this morning, we have consolidation over prior consolidation. Okay, so that's a bullish environment. Okay, I'm laying out the landscape. Consolidation, higher consolidation, higher consolidation, higher low, higher high, another higher low. Okay, so my bias should be bullish. Okay, now, not to mention all of that. Okay, let's look in here. You've got a 10-minute, I'm on the 10-minute chart, 10-minute uptrend right there in the pre-market. Okay, you can see the candlesticks riding on top of the 3. The 3 is pointed up. The 3 and the candlesticks are riding over the 8. That is the white line. Okay, the white line is pointed up. Okay, and they're up over VWAP. That is the brown line right there. So we've got a 10-minute uptrend coming into the open. We haven't opened yet, but this is in the pre-market. Okay, now we get straight over consolidation. Again, price moves up and holds the higher ground again. Okay, that's what I like to see. Price moves up and then over to the right. They didn't come back here. See, if they'd have gone up and then came all the way back here, that would have been going up and giving it up. But no, they didn't do that. Okay, they went up and they held the higher ground. Okay, that's a bullish environment right there. Okay, that is bullish. So we're laying out the landscape so we can get the clues, so we can form our bias. Okay, doesn't mean it's locked in and that's all we're going to do, but we're going to look for confirmation of our bias. All right, and one of them is the fact that price doesn't go up and then come all the way back down. Okay, so that's confirmation of our bullish bias by seeing price go up and over to the right, holding the higher ground up there. Okay, so then we get price action. You have green erases red right over the top of this base. Okay, so before this candle opens up, we have a base that is right here, okay, on the line. Okay, so right there is a base. Okay, that would be the ceiling of the consolidation. Now you can see price goes up and gives it all up there. Then we come down, okay, and then you look at the very next candle, okay, look at the candle body. We're going to zoom in here on the candle body. Okay, notice the body engulfs the red candle body, okay? It like eats it up, all right? It just engulfs the whole red candle body. That right there is green erases red. But you need more than just engulfing. You need follow through. And here comes the follow through candle right there. See, without the follow through, it's just one candle. You need the follow through to let you know this is where we're going, higher, okay? So you got green erases red. Red as you clear the top of that body or the top of this red wick, and you've got the follow through right there. There's your entry right there. And you can see in right there or right here, okay? Right over the top of that red wick right there, okay? Or if you wanted to, you got this big green wick, you could have entered right here. Okay? So we got a 10-minute uptrend that continues or resumes, okay, after the market open. They do a little zigzag, they do a little shimmy shake, they do a little washout kind of thing, and then they shimmy shake it around, and then what happens is you got the green erases red, you jump in, you're going higher, okay? You got 3 EMAs pointed up. See the candlesticks riding on top of the 3 EMA here, okay, and it's pointed up. Now you see the candlesticks in the 3 are over the 8 EMA, all right, so pointed up, all right. Notice the 3 and the 8 pointed up. Now look at just the 8 EMA and the VWAP line, okay. So here's the VWAP line, that's the brown one. Now see the separation? See how the mouth, all right, of the 8 EMA and the VWAP gets bigger and bigger and bigger and bigger until it crosses right up here at 230. Okay, so this is a 10-minute uptrend. Okay, you got a 10-minute uptrend. Now you see price. You got the 3 EMA, never crosses the 8 right there. Comes close, but it never crosses the 8. Okay, so and the 10-minute uptrend resumes all the way up here to, I think about 669.50, 669.70. So we had 2 targets today. First target was 667.50 right there. Okay, that was our first target. Second target was Woody's Pivot, R1, not Woody's Pivot, but Woody's R1, resistance level number 1, okay, which was right up here, 669.50 something. I put it on there, 669.50 up there, okay? So there's price action moving up, got a 10-minute uptrend, okay, from the open all the way up until crosses over right here, right at 230, okay? There's SPY, 10-minute uptrend. We also had a trend day, okay? So on the trend day, between, if you got a 10-minute uptrend between the hours of 11 and noon, okay? So this would be 11, okay? This would be noon. Not quite noon. Let's take that off. Let's try one more time. And noon right here, okay? 11 and noon. All right, you got a 10-minute uptrend between 11 and noon. There is a 60 to 80% chance that you're going to have that 10-minute uptrend is going to resume until 2 o'clock or 2:30, okay? So you can see right here, this is about 2:30, 2 o'clock right here. So let's put my crosshairs on there. If you look up there, that's the 2:30 candle. All right, you can see there's a box up here at the top. Here's where the cross is. That cross occurs at 2:30 right there, okay? So you had a nice trend day, 10-minute uptrend, and we closed the day near the high of the day, almost at the high of the day right here at the end of the day, okay? That is a tremendous bullish environment. Not only that, we are holding the higher ground once again, okay? So we moved up and we held the higher ground once, okay? So you can see price moves up and then holds the higher ground. Then we move up and then we hold the higher ground. Then we move up and now we hold the higher ground. That is a bullish environment. I will be looking for a breakout of the 10-minute uptrend come tomorrow morning at 9:30 when the market opens up. That's what I'll probably be looking for when the market opens up tomorrow. Okay, so then we had a 10-minute uptrend. That's my favorite. My favorite is a 10-minute uptrend that resides inside 10-minute uptrend over VWAP that resides inside 2-hour uptrend that resides inside the daily uptrend that lives inside the weekly uptrend, inside the monthly uptrend, okay? I like it when I have all of the bigger time frames pushing that 10-minute uptrend further to the upside, making it last longer and making it go further, okay? That's what I like. That's my favorite trade. And it's even better and more powerful when it's over all-time high anchored VWAP, okay? But right now, we didn't have a 2-hour uptrend. We had a 2-hour downtrend when we came into the close on Friday, okay? But when we opened up this morning, we had a 2-hour uptrend because the 3, all right, was up on top of the 8, all right? And price was up on top of the 3. So we'll take a look at that. Okay, see yesterday, 3 was just kind of bullish consolidation or bearish consolidation. See the move down and over to the right. Okay, now when we open up this morning with the 2-hour, see the 3 is up over the 8. This is the yellow line, up over the 8. The white is the 8 EMA. So we have a 2-hour uptrend coming into the open. On the 10-minute chart, you can see this is bullish consolidation. So this is a 10-minute consolidation, bullish. And you can see right here we had a 10-minute downtrend coming into the close on Friday. Then we had consolidation over to the right. They failed to make a lower low. So the bulls should be inspired to make a higher high. We have a 10-minute uptrend. All right. It goes to the right and consolidates. And then it takes off again. Okay. Look how it consolidates for like over 6 10-minute candles. You can see it. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Tries to break down on the 8th one. 9th one comes back with a vengeance, and then we continue the uptrend and break out to the upside. Okay, they're committed. Anytime I see them hold over 6 candles, holding over 6 candles, for me, that spells a possible commitment to holding the higher ground and wanting a higher number. Okay, that's what I like to see. So coming into the close on the 2-hour chart, we have today a 2-hour uptrend coming into the close. On the daily chart, okay, we're still in a downtrend, okay, still in that downtrend because price action, okay, is not made a higher high yet, okay. See, there's a high, still haven't taken out that high, haven't taken out that high, and I'm pretty sure we got to take out that high to negate the downtrend right here, okay, because this is just one candle. Okay, so we got to take out this high right here to negate the downtrend. All right, and convert the uptrend right up there. That one right up there. Okay, so we got a low here. We made a lower low. Okay, not today, but Friday. This would be Friday's candle. We made a lower low. So we're in a downtrend. Okay, so if we look at this with the quad lines on it and we zoom way out, okay, you can see this is the April beginning of the rally. Okay, we're all the way up here in the middle of quadrant 4. That's bullish, but we're not moving up, all right? We're kind of just putting in a bull flag, all right? We're just putting in a pullback, all right? We're in a downtrend because we made lower lows. So we got a downtrend going on right now, okay? So, and we made a lower low. See, there's a low right here between the two peaks is the valley low, all right? So we're in a downtrend, but we're still bullish up here because we're up here in quadrant 4, okay? So the only thing broken so far is the daily chart, okay? Because that we made a lower low. Weekly chart, still in an uptrend, but experiencing a 3-candle pullback right now. Nothing's broken yet, okay? Still in an uptrend. Monthly chart, price action still moving up, okay? Nothing is broken yet. Big recovery there. This used to be an engulfing candle on SPY on the monthly chart. That's a new look for that candle. I don't know if this whole thing turns green by the end of the month or not, all right? But there's SPY on the monthly. We're still, see, you got daylight between the 3 and the 8. Okay, still nice uptrend right there on SPY. Okay, let's take a look at QQQ. Okay, probably going to look the same way. Start with the 10-minute. Okay, look at this. Igniting candle, 10-minute uptrend right out of the gate. Okay, right there. Breaking right over the top of these two peaks. See the two peaks right here? You got the post-market or the pre-market peak right here. And you've got the prior day's high right there. And you got an igniting candle. It rips right out of the gate. Pulls back, hits the top. Okay? So it rips through resistance. Comes back and it finds support at the same spot what was resistance before, but because we're above it, it acts as support, and now price continues. See the 10-minute uptrend, you've got the 3 EMA, the yellow line pointed up, 8 pointed up, over VWAP. You can see the 8 and the VWAP line. See how the mouth of the 8 and the VWAP gets bigger and bigger and bigger all the way up till 230 right up here. Okay, again, trend day, uptrend, 10-minute uptrend between the hours of 11 and noon. Okay, so we got a 10-minute uptrend and ending the day into bullish consolidation on the 10-minute chart. So no uptrend, no downtrend. That is bullish consolidation moving up and over to the right. Okay, so you can see price action it goes up and over to the right. That's bullish consolidation right there. Okay. All right, let's take a look at the 2-hour chart. Okay. On the 2-hour chart, coming into the close on Friday, look, the candlesticks and the 3 are under the white 8. Okay, they're under. So we got a 2-hour downtrend. But lo and behold, overnight, okay, the little Sanders rally going on. Okay, you got candlesticks and the 3 are now over the 8. And we open up and you can see you got candlesticks and the 3. Candlesticks riding on top of the 3. 3 and the candlesticks riding on top of the 8. Got a 2-hour uptrend, okay, coming into the opening. And then finishing the day here today, okay? Candlesticks up over the 3. 3 up over the 8, okay? Uptrend on the 2-hour chart. On the daily chart, okay? All the way up here. Let's take this line off. It's nothing but confusing. Okay, so we have a low. Friday, we made a lower low, making this a downtrend. A lower high and a lower low. So we're in a downtrend. Today's candle, we have not broken trend yet. Okay, are we moving? We're not moving down. That's a good thing. Okay, but we still have not broken the downtrend line yet. So we make a higher high and a higher low, and we close over a bearish trap, probably over the 17 EMA here on QQQ. I don't have it up there right now. I could probably, let's see, let's turn this thing on. Under the 17 EMA right there. So under the 17. Okay, on QQQ on the daily chart. So up here in the middle of quadrant 4, that's bullish, but still in a downtrend. Weekly chart. Okay, weekly chart still in an uptrend. Nothing's broken yet. Got a little 3 candle pullback right there. Okay, still got the uptrend. We haven't made any lower lows yet. Okay, take this one and just dial this back. That way it doesn't look confusing. All right, so monthly chart, still in an uptrend. You can see the candlesticks and the 3 pointed up. 8 is pointed up. 17 is pointed up. Still got a monthly uptrend right there, okay? See, big headway today. This used to be an engulfing candle, and it's no longer engulfing up here. So there's QQQ, monthly uptrend, okay? Again on QQQ, okay, trading the 10-minute uptrend, had a trend day, okay? We didn't cross until 2 p.m., 2:30 right there, okay? 10-minute uptrend. You could have stayed in this from like 10:30 or 10 o'clock all the way until 2 o'clock right there. And you rose up, I don't know, right here. Let's see, 596, clear up to 605. Wow, that was a nice move. That was really nice move. There's QQQ, all right? Let's take a look at IWM. All right, on IWM, daily chart. Okay, higher low, higher high. Seems like everybody put in a higher low, higher high. They closed over the falling 17. They closed over the bearish trap, causing actually a bullish cross. They closed under the all-time high anchored VWAP. That's the pink line. They closed in quadrant 4. That's bullish still. Okay, still bullish up there. But they're still in a downtrend because they haven't made any higher highs. They have to take out that high right there to negate the downtrend. So they got a low here. They made lower lows on not Friday but Thursday. So they're still in a downtrend on IWM. Okay, let's take a look at Diamond Dow. Okay, Diamond Dow, it's got higher low. And I'm going to call it out. I'm going to give it to them. It's coming close. Well, better check it out. High here, 465.86. High here, 465.82. So higher low, higher high. Closing inside, all right, a bearish trap under the all-time high anchored VWAP up here in quadrant 4. That's bullish up there, okay? In a downtrend, because you can see not Friday but Thursday, they got a low here. They made a lower low, so that puts them in a downtrend, but they're up here in bullish territory in the middle of quadrant 4. Okay, here's the April low, quadrant 4. This is the all-time high right there, put in probably about 2 weeks ago. Take a look at FNGU. FNGU, higher low, higher high as compared to the day before. Okay. Price action closing under, falling 17, but over the 3-8 trap. Notice you got the bearish trap here. The 3 is under the 8, so over the bearish trap, but under the all-time high anchored VWAP. That's the pink line. Okay. Staying up here in quadrant 4 in the upper third, that's bullish, okay, but in a downtrend, okay, up there at quadrant 4, still bullish, but in a downtrend. So you can see the bulls came back and rescued the price today, okay. All of this would have represented major support, okay. If we had candles close underneath this, all of this support, we could have seen the market fall apart very rapidly. But instead, we had a candle down. We had a spinning top. Okay, meaning bulls and bears agree on price. Okay, and then price action winds up making a higher low and recovering the dip underneath, breaking major support today. So price action climbs back up here over the major support area. So we need some continuation for that. Okay, we'll see what happens. Okay, need continuation for FNGU. Let's take a look at gold and silver. Gold is still in an uptrend. Silver's in a downtrend. So gold's still in an uptrend. Higher low, higher high. Closing over a bullish trap over the all-time high anchored VWAP. In the middle of quadrant 4, that's bullish. Still in an uptrend. Really just consolidation, but bullish. Still in an uptrend. They haven't made a lower low yet. Let's take a look at silver. Silver was in a downtrend early this morning. Higher low, higher high, closing over a bullish cross, not making a higher high up here. Okay, they got to take out that high. If they manage to take out that high, they will negate the downtrend. See, they got a low here. We made a lower low. So that puts us in a downtrend. If we happen to take out the high, we will have made a higher high, negating the downtrend status and converting it to an uptrend. Today's candle, higher low, higher high, closing over the 17 EMA. That's the dots right here. Closing over the bullish cross, okay, and over the all-time high anchored VWAP right here. That's this purple line. In the top of quadrant 4, so that's bullish, but in a downtrend that's not moving down. Okay, that's silver. Take a look at UNG. UNG, lower high, lower low, closing under a bullish trap, but over the rising 17, over the uptrend line, under the 2025 high anchored VWAP. Okay, we needed to see UNG climb on top, all right, and hold the higher ground. Okay, I have to give them some credit. They did manage to move up underneath it, okay, and hold the higher ground. Okay, so that's more than they've been able to do all year. See right here, double top, give it up. Okay, 2 candle top, give it up. 4 candle top, but we're down here in quadrant 4, no big feet there. Okay, 3 candle top, give it up. 2 candle top, give it up. 1 candle top, give it up. You can see this is the first time in a long time for UNG that they've been able to put together more than 3 candles near the bullish flag up here in the highs. Okay, they're still, if we look at it, they're still in the bottom down here in quadrant 1. Remember, this is the all-time low right there that was put in back in the middle of October. Okay, so still in quadrant 1, that's bearish, but they are acting bullish by holding higher ground, producing bull flags, and they're still in an uptrend because they continue to make higher lows and higher highs. Okay, but we need to see them break out of this lower third, okay, climb on top of this 2025 high anchored VWAP, all right, and hold the higher ground. Let me just show you how far back this goes, okay, because the fact that they're here at $15, you think like, well, that's pretty good, all right? Not when you look at the whole story, okay? Look at these all-time highs, like 8,000, okay, back in 2008, the housing crisis, okay? So ever since, they've been splitting. You see this? Just having a time of it right here, trying to stay above water. Okay, so the fact that they put in, 4 candles here is no big feat considering their highs were back there at 8,000. Okay, so this is in an uptrend, but still bearish down here in quadrant 1. Okay, let's take a look at our technicals, and we'll take a look at T2101. So the market moved up today, and the breadth, aka participation, all right, decreased. See how you can move this whole line of candles underneath this line without even touching it? Okay, see the bearish gap down, and the bulls never filled the gap on this, on the breath. Okay, so less participation when the market is bullish. Not a good sign. You want to see the opposite. You want to see more participation when the market is bullish. Okay, we did not see that. Again, moving in the wrong direction here with the breadth and the participation. That's T21.01. Let's take a look at T21.22. Today, nice work on T21.22. We climb out of the seller's chop zone. We weren't in there this morning. We managed to meander in there first thing, and we bounced out of there, making a higher low. Okay, and then an equal high, and then another higher low, and then I'm going to call it another equal high. Okay, and then consolidating up here in the buyer's chop zone. Okay, so putting in kind of a bull flag up there. That's bullish environment heading into tomorrow. Okay, T21.23. We can see right here, this was 21. This would be the low, all right, the lowest low since, all right, the all-time high up here. This is the all-time high. This would be the lowest low, okay? So all we did was bounce up just a little bit and move over to the right, okay? So nothing really extraordinary here, okay? This is still a bear flag for me, okay? We did gap down, and the bulls filled the gap, okay? And the bulls got a high, and they made a higher high, so they're still in an uptrend. Let me just make sure. Yeah, still in an uptrend. Not a very strong uptrend, not a very convincing uptrend, okay? More of a bear flag than it is an uptrend, okay? Price action, you can see down here in the bottom, underneath, falling 200 SMA, underneath, downtrend line, okay, on T21.23 15-minute chart. Okay, so they've got a very weak uptrend. Let's take a look at the 3-bar chart. Same product. Okay, still under the downtrend line, still under the flat 200, almost breaking out of the lower third. We have support right here. See this head and shoulders right there? Well, price just climbed on top of that right there. Okay, so it's on the verge of rolling over here. Okay, not a very nice bounce. All right, they just went up and just stayed there. Okay, still in a bear flag. 3-bar chart. Okay, this is the all-time high. Okay, that's a lower high. There's a low. There's a lower low. A lower high. A lower low. A lower high. Yep, a lower low. So they're still in a downtrend. Okay, they're up here in the upper third, so they're barely hanging on to bullishness, just barely. Any more, and they just they step into neutral. All right, they continue to melt through. Here's the Head and Shoulders program, all right, from back in July. Okay, and you can see price winds up decapitating the head by producing a higher high up here. Okay, now we've got an even bigger Head and Shoulders, this being now the left shoulder, all of this the right shoulder, all of this the head. Okay, so we'll see what happens. In order to negate this Head and Shoulders, price needs to go up and decapitate the head again. All right, otherwise Head and Shoulders may play out in the near future. So there's T21.23. We're barely hanging on to bullishness up here, and we're in a downtrend on the 3-bar chart. FNGU. All right, climbs back on top of the 200 SMA. Nice work in a 15-minute uptrend because they're making higher lows and higher highs. There's the higher low, and you can see there's the high. They made a higher high. Okay, over the 200 SMA. That's my place to be if I'm a bull. All right, under the all-time high anchored VWAP. I like the fact they were leaning on it before. Maybe we lean on it again. Hopefully we consolidate right underneath this. Okay, So we may be looking at a day of consolidation tomorrow. We'll see what happens, okay? Unless, of course, they melt up through it and get on top of that all-time high anchored VWAP, okay? So we'll see what happens tomorrow. That's FNGU. And we watch FNGU. It's got 10 of the most heavily weighted securities that are in the SPY and the QQQ. When these 10 move as a pack, they can drag those two indexes right along in whatever direction they're moving, okay? Regardless of what the rest of the products inside the SPY or the QQQ are doing, all right? They can just drag the whole market wherever they're going when they move as a pack. So you can see today we had a bullish gap up, not filled by the bears, okay? That's bullish right there. Bullish gap up, not filled by the bears. Usually look for them to fill it by noon. If they haven't got it filled by noon, it's going to be a bullish day all day, probably. More than likely. So there's FNGU. All right, so that's it for me for today. I covered all the bases right there. How I made money. I just traded the 10-minute uptrend, mainly. I had some puts, and I sold puts against my puts, and I did that on purpose. All right, I created a bull put spread by selling receiving a credit by selling puts that were higher up in strike than the ones that I purchased on the long side. So I had a put spread, a bull put credit spread going. So you'll see me, I have some puts in here. All right, if I'm buying them, it's because I'm closing out the trade. If I'm selling them, it's because I'm restarting that bull put spread. Okay, calls, just bought calls almost all day and sold them into strength. Okay, that's all I did. What I traded a bunch of products today. As you can see, these are all the different products I traded. So I'll move this over to the right. You can take a peek where I started with them. Let's start with this one, November 660 call. See if I can get that to come up. And that's not it. Okay, looking for, you know what it is? I turned the trading off. And not really cooperating, is it? Maybe I got the wrong one. Oh, you know why? I got the wrong one. This is FNGU. Okay, let's go back over here. I've got the wrong one. Okay. Okay, so this is the 24th. So I sold some puts. No, some calls. Okay, so I had calls from the day before, and I sold them into strength right there. 671 calls. I bought the lows of the candles and sold the highs of the candles. 671. Those are out of the money. So you notice price is moving up, but the option candle is moving down, all right, because the decay is happening inside of the option, okay? If we were in the money, we would have some intrinsic value. They would be moving up. But because this is out of the money, they're moving down while price is moving up, thereby driving price into my net of sell orders up above, okay? So I'm buying the lows of the option candles and selling the highs of the option candle. Same here, 685 calls. Yeah, that doesn't look like I got any action out of those. You can see nothing happened there. Here's the puts. Sold them, covered them right here. Only made $16. More puts, sold them, covered them. Okay. Sold them, covered them. See, these are all puts right here. Calls, 670 calls. Again, buying the lows of the candles, selling the rallies. See, as The 10-minute uptrend goes higher. I'm selling into strength as price rises up right through there. Okay, more puts, again, selling them underneath here, selling them again right here. Calls, buying the lows and selling the peaks of those option candles in this 10-minute uptrend. You can see 670 right here, 1 DTE, and I converted those, went to the 670 0 DTE as well. Puts, again, I think I'm still holding these puts. All right, still holding right here. No, these are calls. Bought the lows of the calls. These puts right here, okay? So bought the lows, reloaded, and then bought the lows again, okay? 700, okay, bought the lows and sold the highs on this one, 24. Nope, didn't even make anything on that one. Didn't make anything on that one. This one bought the lows and sold the highs of the option candle. Tesla made 90, bought it here, sold it a little bit higher. Google should have held on to that one, went up a little bit. I sold these against my long right here. I had these long, and then we had this harsh pullback. Doubled down, didn't get quite the follow through I was looking for, so I just closed this, and I closed my short strike on Google. I made it into a spread so it would be less expensive, the Google options. And then rig, I closed those out to make a $15 gain, and that's it. CPNG, I got that. I'm still holding those. I like the fact that it goes up and over to the right to consolidate right there. All right, thanks, everybody. I'll see you all tomorrow at 8 again. If you need help, please get with me. All right, I've sent you my invite so you can get a hold of me so we can help you. All right, I want to see everybody happy and profitable and making money. All right, thank you, traders. Thanks, Tex, for supplying that Thinkorswim PPO. Thanks, Brent. Thanks for the thumbs up. Mobius. And what do we got here? Let me make sure I got everything. Yes, agree on the 10-minute inverted head and shoulders. I'm reading your note now. Okay, so let's talk about entering. Let's talk about entering on the 10-minute candle. I'm reading some notes. Okay, let's just say I'm going to go to SPY. Okay, and maybe some of this is true and some of it is speculation. Doesn't matter to me. I want to address it. Okay, you get a 10-minute candle, and you've decided that this market is bullish. Okay. There's a range of execution, okay, that you need to decide where it is, okay? And it's best if you don't go full boat in on the very first number the minute you've made that decision, okay? Sometimes you have to give it time to wiggle. I notice you go if you go all in, all right, when you've made your decision and you hit the ask, and then you get the pullback in the candle, the 10-minute candle, and then you start to lose confidence, and you got a big red number up there now, or the number starts to grow from just $69 underwater to a point where it's $212 underwater, and now you're looking at losing a daily goal instead of making a daily goal. All right, let's talk about this for a minute, because this may be a problem with some of the people that wrote no. I don't know. I haven't spoke with them yet, but the person who wrote this brings up an excellent point. There's going to be a range of execution. You may get a pullback. You may not get a pullback. For me, I consider it my duty to try to pick off the lows of every candle, all right? And I do it in such a way that the first, as price pulls back, the first number, all right, is, I'm just going to put up some letters, all right? So some numbers, okay? So at the first one, I would do like one contract. Okay, and let's say it keeps coming back. Okay, so then I'd let 5 or 10 cents, depending upon how big this is. All right, then the next one is sometimes it's 1, sometimes it's 2, depending on the range of execution. So I'm going to put 2. Okay, so the next one is 2 underneath it. All right, then the next one underneath that might be 2 again. Okay. But I want to increase as the candle dips lower, into the 8 or into the 3, all right? So I'm bringing my cost average down so that when price does go up, I'm going to have something to sell and capture profits with, okay? So, 1, 1, 2, 2, 3, 3, 3, okay, 3, 3, or you can do 1, okay, 2, okay, 3, 4, okay, 5, all right. Now that would be 9, and 3 would be 12, 14, that would be 15 contracts, okay. Now if you did 4, 3, 2, 1, let's say that would be 7, 9, 10. That would be 10 contracts where you've got the most down at your lowest point instead of the most up here at the highest point, right? Therefore, dragging or averaging your cost basis lower rather than higher, okay? So you're going to have a range of execution. So when I set up my orders, I try to do like 1 here, 1 there, 2 there. And as I get lower and lower, all right, towards the bottom of the wick of the option candle, okay, I want to increase it so I have more and more, therefore bringing my average down lower. That way you don't get that anxiety that you're getting, all right? Because when the candle does finally move green and up over the previous candle, you're going to have some profits to capture at that point in time, okay? So you have to leave yourself a range of execution and think about how you want to capture. Do you want to capture everything at the high of the candle? Or would you rather spread it out where the majority of it is down here? Now keep in mind, if you're expecting it to come back down here, it may not. As you can see today, once it left this spot, it did not come back and revisit it. Okay? But I consider it, like I said, I consider it my duty to pick off the lows by using this 1, 2, 3 method of the candle, like seeing where the candle lines up and kind of like pick it off as compared to the previous candle over to the left. Okay, so there'll be some candles over to the left. Let me try and find something that I did a lot of work with. Okay, there's one. Okay, so I look at this, I look over to the left. Okay, so I'm putting in orders near the bottom of this, all right, and then lower. And then near the bottom of this, and then lower. So I'm capturing price as it comes down. See how, it's almost like I knew how to capture by putting them in so that they even go lower into my net or my grid, all right? So it looks like I have the ability to pick off the low of every one of these candles, and I don't. I don't have the ability. But what I do is I set up a net that goes far below, okay, these candle bottoms or these candle lows. So I have an order down here that never got filled. So it looks like I have the ability to pick off the lows, but I don't. But the reason I'm able to do it is because I set up a grid of buy orders for which when price does pull back, it fills, it gets caught right in my net and triggers, a buy order. I get reloaded as price falls into my grid, thereby triggering the buy, all right, to reload that contract or that 2 contracts or 3 contracts. You can see there, I got 10. Up here, I bought 30 there. Okay, so sometimes at the highs, you can see I got 2 there. See how I got 2 up top? Okay, that's near the high of the candle. And I got 10 way down here. Knowing that the only way I'm going to bring my costs down is by increasing or having the majority of my options or my purchases near the low of the option candle. Okay, so give yourself a range of execution from which to draw from, all right, with a grid of buy orders underneath so you can constantly, now as price comes back up over my cost basis, I begin to sell off and capture profits. Comes back under, I kind of reload and keep dragging my cost basis down. Comes back up, all right, I capture more profits with my net or my grid of sell orders up top, okay? It's a constant ebb and flow on these candles, okay? Making sure I got the 10-minute uptrend still intact the whole time. I'm constantly watching, okay? Is the 10-minute trend still working? Yes, it is. The 3 is still up over the 8, so I'm going to continue to lay out my net of buy orders and sell orders underneath, all right, so that I can get reloaded and then sell when the market continues again with this 10-minute uptrend and puts in the next 4 candles and moves up higher, okay? So I just wanted to share that. Sometimes it's 100. That one at one point was 108. All right, because I had gotten 30 up here, thinking price was going to rip higher and higher, but instead it went into a stall mode, okay, and I had to constantly put out lower, drag it down by buying 10, like you can see right here. I'll bet each one of these is 10. Yeah, 10 at 15, 10 at 16, 10 at 14, 10 at 13. Okay, so remember when I bought 30 up here, okay, I got to get like 60 down here to drag the cost basis down to the point where it's at the money or near the money so that I can sell for a profit. So this one I happen to get 108. Now, keep in mind when they're only 9 cents a contract, you can get a pile of them. Okay? Remember, I'm only using 10% of my account every time. Okay? No more than 10% right in here. Okay? Sometimes I have to load up and just drag that thing down as soon as I can. As soon as I see price begin to move up, that's when I want to drag it down. Okay? Trying to catch the falling knife is not easy and becomes pricey and expensive. Okay? But that's typically what happens. I wait for that next green candle to form, and that's when I make my purchase. All right? And hopefully I get filled and I have something to sell into, all right, when my cost basis is dragged lower. Yeah, that one was 108 at one time. And you can go back in the video. If you guys ever want to see, you can just go back. I'm going to take this down, text. All right. I want to let you know I saw it and I addressed it. You can go back. Remember, I got everything's recorded. You go to the people, you hit the hamburger, you go to archives, you hit recording. Okay, and we're still recording right now. And you see there'll be a recording. And you can see everything. I show you everything. Okay, all the buys and sells. Now I have to move this around quite often. Okay, this one I'm moving around because I'm buying a lot of products. But you can see it all show up, you know, right through here. These are the executed trades. You can see it show up here. And you can see it here. And this shows the position right there. See, now it looks like a lot right here, 1,000. Now keep in mind they're a penny each. See? They're just a penny. Okay, it looks like a ton of shares, right? It's not Google, all right? It's just a penny. Okay, these are way out of the money. All right, and I see bullish activity. And as price gets closer and closer to my strike, these will become more valuable as price gets there. If it can get there before the 4 days expire or sooner, right there. So there's times I have to add a lot, all right, to bring it down. But what you want to do is space your stuff out. And sometimes it takes off without me. And it is what it is, all right? Sometimes you don't get to make it all right? You get to make a piece of it. But that's your job, just to take a piece out of the market, okay? It's not to catch the very bottom and the very top. It's fun when that happens, but let me just say, your job is to take that meaty section in the middle, okay? Okay, not to capture the very top and the very bottom, but to capture the meaty section in the middle. From here up to there, capture those gains, make your goal, and then call it a day right there. Okay, so here you can see, here's the video. All right, I'll hit play. I'll turn the volume up. November 21st, 2025. My name is John Carignan. I'm the lead instructor here at the BYOB Trading Room. Thank you for being. Okay. Today is November 21st, 2025. You can see everything happening right there on the screen. Right there. Today will be a new day right there. All right, that's it for me, traders. Going to call it a day. I will see you all tomorrow at 8 o'clock. We'll do it again. All right, take the poll again. Hopefully we got some improvements. Hopefully I do a better job, all right, of helping you all make money. All right, we'll see what I can do to make improvements on all of that, because I want so badly for you to enjoy this, because it can be an enjoyable process, but you have to be successful. It's no fun losing every game, okay? It's just not fun at all. Really like it when I shout. I try as often as I can. I gotcha. Okay. I try. I'll try again tomorrow. All right. Tomorrow. I thought I did pretty much a lot today. I know I did call out some strikes. I said I'm buying CPNG. I'm buying Google. Buying that. I don't get them all right, but I do get a good part of them, at least the beginning of the trade, what I'm going to be trading. Yeah. All right, I'll see you guys all tomorrow, 8 o'clock. Thank you, everyone. Thank you.